Alright guys, HyDra back again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Big updates overnight as to what the next year of Call of Duty is going to be looking like, especially in the perks that have been revealed, it seems, pretty much entirely for the new Modern Warfare 3 title, including some perks in here that are very interesting indeed, including one that seems like it's a buff to snaking. Will be very interesting to see which pros, which teams might push for a gentleman's agreement of this, and which might be in favour of keeping it in the game, but also Hex revealing that as far as he's concerned, the YouTube deal is now done and dusted. No more Twitch for the foreseeable future. Scott's not happy about it, as you might expect. Very much enjoyed to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. We'll dive straight in. Just if you guys didn't see yesterday, a confirmation that Accuracy is joining again the Minnesota Rocker alongside Awakening, Linz and Vivid. That's the official, now confirmed team of 4. Accuracy, of course, will try to do what he did with Kenny back in the day, with Pred over the last couple of years, and build up, new rookie players into real superstars. And if Linz can be that, I think a bit of patience is going to be required. This Minnesota team definitely has some upside potential, but as I said yesterday, the floor of this team isn't particularly high as far as I'm concerned. There was also some reaction here to the incredible acting that the boys put together as attached as someone was holding Lamar at gunpoint during this, and I was like, please, I don't know, they made him do the thing, and it's pretty funny when you look at it through that lens as far as I'm concerned. Quickly as well from Clay, you guys might have seen Ludwig's kind of like most stacked ever gaming tournament. I'm pretty sure this was what Ludwig a while ago was atting Scump to try and get him to do, and I imagine that ideally Ludwig probably wanted Scump to go and Shroud and all this, but they couldn't get the absolute all-star cast, but nonetheless there's still some pretty good names in there. A few Valorant people, Tens, Zekken, obviously Clay is here, then represented the COD scene, so Clay's pretty good. A lot of the different games he plays, okay, we could say, well, maybe Karma's the best guy to send or something like this. If we had to have a representative from the COD scene, Karma would probably have been my pick, but Clay's still a very good one, so we'll see how this goes. Hopefully Clay does well and holds down the fort for the Call of Duty scene. But let's talk about these rumours that come out from Roberta overnight as to the new perks in the game. Now, I think the perks arrive into Modern Warfare 3 from different elements. Like, part of them are the gloves you can put on, some of them are the boots you can put on. There might be other ones as well that are yet to be revealed and confirmed, but this is what we know so far, at least what the leak is, and people seem to believe this is probably pretty damn accurate. So I'm guessing you can only wear one pair of gloves and one pair of boots, right? So we'll see in a second. You've got to make some big decisions in terms of what you use. So these are the glove options. Some of these will be used, I imagine, by the pros in competitive play. Some of them probably won't. So this is interesting. Assault gloves, while jumping, accuracy and time to ADS is improved. So some buff to movement while jumping is a little bit interesting. Custom gloves increase your weapon swap speed. Not, I imagine, going to be massively useful. Scavenger gloves, rarely useful in competitive play anyway. Specialist gloves throw equipment further, kind of like, what was it called? Strong Arm from COD Ghost, you guys might remember, which was a viable perk back then, but it was only a 1-point perk in the COD Ghost point system for perks. So I always quite like these ideas when there's gloves or there's something that allows you to throw grenades further, because it opens up more, like, let's say, search and destroy, pre-nade, off-spawn nade opportunities that you used to be able to use back in the day, and we don't really see that much of in most recent titles. And yes, people use flak jacket a lot and stuff like this, but it's not always the case. So that's an interesting one. Tactical combat gloves enables reloading while sprinting, which is, nice, but not a necessity. And then marksman gloves, I'm guessing, is really just designed for a sniper. But still, any reduction in sway while ADSing could still be beneficial from an AR perspective as well. So, and also flinch while ADS. So, yeah, definitely, it depends how severe the flinch is, but this is kind of like the toughness perk from back in the Black Ops 2 days. So I'm not exactly sure what people will use, and people will say, oh, it's a bit funky, right? Just make them normal perks rather than you put the pair of gloves on, but I don't really mind how it's executed as long as it makes sense. And, it doesn't seem like you're going to be able to run, it's not like back in the day you could run perk 1, perk 3 grease, where you put on 2 perks. Like, maybe you still can, but it feels, you can't put on 2 pairs of gloves. I guess you can, but you can't put on 2 pairs of boots, that's for sure. So you're probably going to have to choose between all of these different options. Now, one of these options, the first option, the canvas sneakers, is indeed a ninja perk. Eliminates footstep sounds. I like the word eliminate as well, rather than quieten or, silence to some degree. I don't know. Eliminate is like it's gone. Footstep sounds are done for, which is definitely what we want to hear. We don't want, well, literally, right? We don't want any noise being made from footsteps, as far as I'm concerned, because then it opens the door to loudness equalization. Because even if Ninja is like 99% silent, if there's still some noise you make while you're running around with that perk on, or with the canvas sneakers on in this case, then loudness equalization is still going to ruin the game. Whereas if it's completely silent, as it was, let's say, back in COD Ghost when you put the ninja perk or the dead silence perk on, then I think it's much better. So that's one. The thing is that if you want to have silent footsteps, you've got to sacrifice some other things. So for search and destroy, everyone's going to be using these. But for the other game modes, there is some other options, right? So the Stalker boots are here. So this is the Stalker perk from back in Modern Warfare 3, or the stock attachment as it has been in many Treyarch games that increases your ADS movement speed and your, strafe and ADS movement speed. Then you've got this one. Now, I don't know if the pros are going to be allowing this to be used. I think it's quite likely that many teams will push for this to be GA'd. Now, some players will quite like it. Increased slide distance and allows for full ADS while sliding. So there's going to be some crazy kills and movement if this is possible, and some pros will quite want to use this. The thing that I'm a little bit concerned about, though, is the second part. Increases stance transition speeds and crouched movement speeds. I'm not too worried about this one, but increased stance transition speeds is basically like a snaking perk, right? Like usually snaking is done by going behind a bit of cover, just about going prone, then sprinting forwards out of it, and you can do that again and again. The game won't let you get tired like you're in Counter-Strike. If you try and do that in CS, well, it kind of doesn't work in the same way, but if you try and just spam crouch and stand up in CSGO, you get tired and the game stops you from doing it. But this not only does some interesting movement stuff, but also allows you to crouch and stand up even faster. So I mean, you could be snaking the hell out of the head glitch with this, apparently. So, maybe teams like FaZe with Cellium and Drazah might be quite keen to keep this in the game. Other teams might be less keen, and there might be a bit of a tug-of-war in terms of what gets banned or gentleman's agreemented by the players and what is actually used by the pros. Another interesting one is this ultralight boot. So, lightweight, basically, increases movement and swim speed. And it also reduces noise while swimming. So this is what I'm like, hang on a second here, because presumably these perks are multiplayer perks, right? But I wasn't aware that there were really water opportunities on many of these maps. But we're talking about swim speeds. We're talking about reducing swimming noise. I mean, these are the maps that are going to be in the game on at least the left-hand side. These are some of the DLC maps that were added later on. And as I've said before, I'm not massively familiar with all of the details here of these maps, but I mean, Afghan, Derail, Estate, Favela, High Rise, Invasion, Karachi, Quarry, Rundown, Rust, like Scrapyard, Skid Row. Do any of those have water on? Not that I'm aware. Maybe Subbase. I mean, like, maybe they open up part of them. Maybe you can get in the water like you couldn't back in the day. Terminal won't. Underpass. Maybe there's a river running through it, but that's not going to be a competitive map anyway. And then Wastelands is pretty similar. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on here or why that's a thing, because if there's not really any water on these base multiplayer maps, then why would that be a necessity to be able to swim, as we have been able to for the last couple of COD titles? I think Treyarch brought it in probably for Black Ops 3 initially. So yeah, it makes me wonder a little bit whether there are more maps coming than just what we have as the default base MWIII 2009 maps returning, because why would they have something increasing swim speed if there aren't any maps you can swim on? So that's just one thing to look at, I guess. There's also the running sneakers that increase your tac sprint duration and reduces the refresh time. So that's one that's likely it will be canvas sneakers used in Search and Destroy exclusively, and in some of the respawn modes I think you'll see the ARs put the stalker boots on, but still some of the SMGs will probably prefer to have the silent footsteps instead. But some, for an opening rush route, maybe increased tac sprint duration could be interesting. So I think there's some nice options here. Also, the climbing boot increases climbing and mantling speed, reduces fall damage, but is that going to be as strong for competitive as some of the others? Quite possibly not. So that's pretty much what we know for the time being. Definitely an interesting selection there, and yes, eliminates footstep sounds is good. Well, music to my ears, I suppose. Now let's move on here to talk about exactly what's going to be going on for the new year of play in the CDL side, and what the deal might potentially be from the broadcasting perspective. We saw back in Call of Duty Vanguard, which this is, that there was a YouTube deal in place, as there had been since the start of the CDL. The most recent year, the YouTube deal ended, and therefore we went back to, well, it was all platforms were available. Initially it was just Twitch, then at the end of the year the CDL decided to broadcast to both Twitch and YouTube, and that was massive for the scene, especially with Scump retiring at that time, allowing him to do the watch parties. The scene blew up last year, there's no doubt about it. The viewership was crazy, but Hex says that from what he's heard, we also remember right just before the World Championship back in June, there was that owners meeting, and that was when we hoped, at least, or Hex intended, and Nadeshot and John Robinson and all these guys intended to try and get the point across to be like, hey, let's not do this YouTube deal. It's not beneficial for the long term of the scene. Apparently the answer they were told is that no matter what you think, well, no matter what you say, this deal is getting done.
Back in the day when you know, salaries were what they should have been with the viewership that was being displayed at the time. The thing is this, okay?
Yeah, let's hear this.
This is what happened.
Let's hear this.
Viewership was going like this in Call of Duty, right? And players were getting paid, you know, a healthy $5,000 to $6,000 a month because of the viewership and the sponsorships coming in. Then a league happens, and all the players are like, "Well, shit, they got this much money to spend, and we need to get." So this is viewership. These are salaries, right? You know, you're working for it. All of a sudden, salary said, "Boom." The
viewership went the other way.
and you're like, and at one point you gotta, you know, that's why you're seeing what you're seeing nowadays, right? Like, you know, people like we make, I mean, we obviously, like, I don't think I can say, but we make money off of our Call of Duty, not because of Call of Duty, because of all the efforts like the one that you're seeing right now that are happening around these things.
Man, please stay on Twitch, man.
Listen,
please.
First of all,
do you have any information on that?
Yeah,
Me?
go to YouTube.
I got no information.
Last I heard from the meeting that we had is that it's going on YouTube no matter what. So,
I mean, you should be pissed too if it goes to YouTube. I feel like it's gonna affect every from the top to the bottom. It's gonna affect the amount of hype around the game, like.
This is frustrating for sure as a Call of Duty fan. It's a difficult one for the scene because at some point the scene has to make some money, right? Now, I think there's an argument to say that in the short term, the CDL and the leagues itself and esports in general is basically a marketing expense for the game for the publishers. They make a lot of money. They can fund these leagues as promotion for their game, and I think it's probably beneficial for them to do so. But at some point, they want the league to actually be self-sustaining. And this is when the league has to decide, well, in order to make it self-sustaining, some sort of media rights deal is a necessity. Now, the point from my side and from the community side would be, look, at least give it a few years of runway. We had a massive improvement by going to Twitch last season. The community seems to be on the up at the moment. Okay, you've given us this massive off-season, but, you know, nonetheless, people are excited about the new season when it does finally arrive. And to take it away from the platform where a lot of people were discovering it, and to be honest, there'll be some fans that will go back in January to Twitch and think, where's the Call of Duty League? I don't know, maybe they stopped it or something, and then they won't even think anymore about it because they simply can't find it anymore because YouTube's discovery for live streams isn't great either. So there's you've got to weigh up the pros and cons. I think probably lots of people in Hex's position would say, look, give us this runway of a few years at least on Twitch, or, you know, non-exclusive, before, yes, maybe it's inevitable at some point in the future you do need to get a deal signed, but at least, some more time to allow the community to thrive would have been beneficial. But as we've said before, with Microsoft coming in, the CDL needs to try and prove its worth to some degree on the books, and therefore any money they can get is going to be worth it to them, even though Nadeshot made the point at the time that, you know, the juice on this one is not worth the squeeze, as in the money that the CDL are getting from this rights deal is just, you know, nowhere near what, might be justified compared to the viewership numbers that they're going to lose. I mean, this past season, this is including the Scump watch party, and I don't know how the watch parties are going to go for the new year, whether Scump's going to just do them on YouTube, whether he's going to still do them on Twitch, but do what Zuma used to do without seeing the full broadcast. I don't know. They must have some plans for that. Scump obviously, would like it to be how it was before, but unfortunately it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. But MWIII last year peaked to 335,000 viewers. Comparing these numbers to the 2022 numbers, I mean, okay, this was excluding majors, but still, during the regular stages, we were hitting 80, 90, averaging 40, 35. Stage 3 back in 2022 was averaging 24,000 viewers on YouTube. Like, it's not pretty. and YouTube surely can't be stupid enough to see all the Twitch numbers and think, oh, we're just going to get all that to YouTube, right? No matter how, the CDL probably pitched it like that. But it's definitely interesting that meeting that the CDL had with those owners before Champs, where we were like, oh, you know, come on, boys, maybe we can get them to change their minds. Hex was just told, yeah, there's nothing you say matters here. The deal is done. So great stuff. Well done, everyone. It's definitely unfortunate, but we'll see further updates on this, I'm sure, over the coming weeks and months. And just another banger here from Kennedy to close out the video. But very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.